You're listening to Soul Roadmap, episode number 13. Welcome to Soul Roadmap Podcast. Each week you'll hear strategies and inspiration to take action and live life better. Hi, I'm Dina Cataldo, lawyer, coach, and entrepreneur. This podcast is your roadmap to creating more success in your life, business, and relationships. Let's get started. After I recorded this episode, I decided to do something special. I'm giving away a 90X goal planner to help you plan out your goals and take action. And if you're a member of the Soul Roadmap Podcast Facebook group, then you've probably heard me rave about it on one of the Saturday morning lives I've done. And once you've listened to this episode, you're going to have the tools to discover your calling. Well, the 90X Goal Planner will help you make progress on getting there. Head over to dinacataldo.com/episode 13 to enter to win. I'll have all the details on getting bonus entries there too. So go ahead, head on over. And now on to the podcast. Hi there, how are you doing today? I am excited to talk to you about our topic today, especially because it was inspired by a question one of you had for me. And today's episode is a little shorter than usual, but it is jam-packed with information. And I'm going to put all of that into a printable PDF for you to use, and it will be at dinacataldo.com/episode 13. So the question that one of you had for me was, how do we know if we're doing what we're meant to be doing? And I titled this episode, How to Discover Your Calling, but it could just as easily have been called How to Know If You Found Your Calling, because you may have a wonderful job or career and be uncertain about whether you want to continue moving in the same direction you have for years. Maybe you feel stuck right now and you're not sure whether you've made the right move getting into the position you're in right now. If any of this sounds like you, then you're going to want to listen to the 3 techniques I'm sharing with you today to figure out if you're living your calling. I have some specific beliefs on this that inform what I'm going to share with you, and I'll tell you those in just a second. First off, I want to thank Mark Lineberry, who left this lovely review in iTunes. I'm only 2 episodes in, but you've come to the right place if you're looking for ideas, tips, hacks, and otherwise great advice to apply to your life and business. Great guests, too. Thanks for taking the time to leave a review, Mark. I really appreciate it. I'd love to hear from you, too. Subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, and I may showcase your review here, too. I really do want to hear from you. I'm not just saying that. I've been getting a lot of downloads each episode and only a handful of reviews from listeners, so I know you're probably listening to this and you haven't got around to leaving a review because you're super busy, and that's totally okay, but it is time. I want to hear from you. So I will leave a link in the show notes. If you wouldn't mind taking the time to go to iTunes and leave a review, I would really appreciate it. And maybe you can drop a line about what you want to hear more or less of, and that will guide me in the direction that I'm going to go in the future. Okay, let's get to today's episode. So my beliefs surrounding this topic of living our calling. Okay, so first of all, let's just acknowledge how amazing it is that we get to question that we're doing what we're meant to be doing with our lives. I mean, not everyone has the opportunity to do this, and if you're listening to this, what an amazing opportunity for you to really think about whether you're stepping up and doing what you're meant to do in this world. We're living in a time and place where we have the opportunity to learn and grow as human beings that is unprecedented in human history. So I'd like to show a little gratitude for that, first off. Second, what we're, quote, supposed to or, quote, meant to do, our calling, it changes over time. It depends on where there's alignment between who we are and what we're doing in that moment. If we're growing as human beings, who we are and what we believe will change. That means we're meant to shift gears every so often, and this can look different for everyone. You may be a doctor who feels called to help people medically, but you discover that you want to join an organization that specializes in helping a particular group of people where you're making an impact in another community. Or you may switch gears entirely because you find something else that interests you and creates the impact in the world you're looking for. Third, I believe that what we're meant to do in this world will have an overlap between what we're good at and what we love. If you love what you're doing and you're good at it, you're going to feel amazing, right? We each have unique gifts, and it's our duty to discover what our gifts are. It's a lot different when we're looking at this finding of a calling as a duty, an obligation. When we're actually looking at it as a duty, it should impact us more to find it. It should open us up to looking for what we are supposed to be doing, how we can contribute in this world. Of course, you can be really good at singing, but you really only enjoy karaoke. You don't enjoy going on tour and fighting to get a record deal, and you're not about to go out and do it. But when you find something that's meaningful, that you feel really good about, you're going to find a way to reach your goals, and you'll do all the things you don't really enjoy, all those uncomfortable things, to make it happen. Fourth, the only way to discover, and let me repeat this, the only way to discover what you're meant to do is to cultivate awareness of what you want. I'm going to teach you 3 ways, 3 techniques to create that awareness. But the big step you must make is to create time to do this, to create time for yourself. We're always in a rush. We want things now. Even though we acknowledge what a privilege it is to question whether we're living our best life, we're also the Amazon Prime generation, right? Like, we want everything yesterday. I've done a whole episode on how to create time for yourself. I'll link to it in the show notes. It's called 5 Steps for Creating a Morning Routine That Will Transform Your Life. Even if you're a night owl, you will want to listen to this episode to help you create space for yourself. Without this space, you will not be able to get quiet enough to discover if you're truly fulfilling your purpose. All right? All right. Well, with that said, here are 3 techniques to discover whether you're fulfilling your purpose, whether or not you are living your calling. So grab a journal or go to dinacataldo.com/episode 13 to download the free printable guide I've created for you with all of these techniques written down. So you don't have to write anything down. If you're driving in your car, if you're washing the dishes, just know it's there waiting for you at dinacataldo.com/episode 13 to download as soon as you're done. All right? I suggest doing all 3 of these techniques. As I go along, you're going to see that they really work in conjunction with one another to help you get clear on what you want. Technique number 1, question and observe. During your quiet time, start thinking about what you're doing and notice some things. And what I mean by thinking about what you're doing, think about what you are doing right now in terms of a career, in terms of activities that you feel like you're committing a lot of time to. You're going to ask yourself some questions. Are you complaining about anything? If so, what have you been complaining about? This is going to show you what you don't want more of in your life. Notice any self-talk that starts happening. Do you have any negative language towards yourself? Do you blame yourself for anything? Are you making judgments about yourself or other people in your life? Do you notice anything that you love about what you do? Write it down. Is there anything that you want more of? Something that's on your wish list that you don't have now? For instance, do you wish you had more time for something? What do you wish you had more time for? Travel, time with friends and family? Is there a way to increase that time for yourself? What is holding you back from having what you want? And each time you notice a thought, start asking another question. Ask yourself, I wonder what that's about. I'm curious to know why I think that. And when you bring this curiosity to your thoughts, you really start to engage with your observations and you start to bring awareness to some of the things that you believe. Write it down. You're going to want to come back to this journal a couple times because each time you come back, you're going to start noticing more and more. Your brain needs some time to process things. So when you come back to your journal, you'll be able to see things more clearly. You'll be able to see whether the life you have right now is allowing you to be the person you want to be. You'll be able to see whether or not you have in your life what you want to have. And if not, it's time to start figuring things out, which is a good segue to technique number 2, the 2-column discovery. All right, so this sounds exactly like what it is. I took this concept from John Lee Dumas from Entrepreneur on Fire and thought this would be a great technique to use here. So get out a piece of paper and create 2 columns. At the top of one column, write what I love to do. And on the top of the second column, write what I'm good at. You'll want to revisit this over 3 to 5 days, okay? Again, your brain needs time to process things. So here's what you do. In the first column, brainstorm everything you love to do. It can be anything. Traveling, eating, talking, walking the dog. I mean, anything. In the second column, write down everything you're good at. Again, anything. Writing, editing, typing, speaking, karaoke, whatever. I'd also ask your best friends what you're good at because they can see things that you might not. So we tend to judge ourselves more harshly while they see us in a brighter light. After your 3 to 5 days of incubating these ideas, begin drawing lines between related topics that are in the columns. So for instance, if you love karaoke and you're really good at singing, then you draw a line between the two. If you love writing and you're good at writing, then you draw a line between the two of those. And if you love being on stage and you love teaching, well, that's a good combination too, right? Because if you love teaching, you also love being in front of people. That's a good combination. So you may also consider things like this. If you love writing and you're good at writing, then think about what you love writing about. Do you love creating websites? Do you think you'd love to write about creating websites? See how these things are linked. It's a great technique to get your brain working. Then it's really up to you. It's up to you to feel into what feels right to you. Sometimes that means trying out different things. So if you try teaching, but you really don't enjoy it, if that thing doesn't work for you, then that's giving you valuable information, right? It's not giving you what you want in your life, and it's time to move on to something else. There's another way to create clarity in what you want, and that leads me to technique number 3, clarity journaling. Okay, so I just made that term up. I haven't heard it before, but you know what? It makes sense. All that means is write down what you want. Right? What do you want? Dream big. What would you be, do, or have if I could just wave a magic wand and give you anything you want? And the details matter, okay? So the more detailed you are, the more you can really feel into the person you want to become. And the more you're going to gain an understanding of whether or not you're in a position right now that you enjoy. This is going to give you incredible clarity. This is going to tell you whether you're in that place or career that you enjoy, right? So you might even be able to use your career or whatever you're doing right now as a stepping stone to get you where you want to be. But you're only going to make that connection if you start understanding what you want. That's going to become clear when you start writing it down. If you feel stuck and you don't feel like where you are is helping you grow into the person you feel you can become, you're probably not doing what you're meant to be doing. Review the exercise where you discovered what you loved doing and where it aligned with what you're good at. Does that give you any epiphanies? Does it help you think at all? The important focus of this clarity journaling is to be as detailed as possible about what you want. This gives your brain room to begin thinking about what it wants. It starts really impacting your subconscious, and you start seeing opportunities in places where you might not have seen opportunities before. This isn't really something that we do all the time, right? So we don't always stop and think about what we want. We get into such a habit, we get into such a pattern of doing what we're doing that we don't stop and think, which is why it's so important to create that space for us to settle down and think this through. This is all about living with intention. This is all about designing a life that you want. It's helpful to revisit this journal that you're making with all 3 of these techniques multiple times to see if there's anything else going on, to see if you notice anything else. We're taught so often as children to be realistic, and that limits us. No one is going to see this journal but you, so why not dream big? The purpose of having a goal isn't that we reach that goal. It's the journey into the person we become along the way to attempting to reach that goal. That's why this is so important. If you want to become the person you want to become, the person you're meant to become, it's important that you do the work. All right, here's a quick rundown. So remember, you can get all these techniques in a free printable PDF with space for you to journal at, and you can get that at the show notes at dinacataldo.com/episode 13. That's dinacataldo.com/episode 13. So this is the rundown. Technique number 1, question and observe. This boils down to watch your thoughts. Ask yourself why you feel what you feel. Get curious about what you're thinking. Write it down. Technique number 2, 2-column discovery. Write down what you love and what you're good at. Ask your friends what you're good at too. Then link up what you love and what you're good at to find the sweet spot. Technique number 3, clarity journaling. Write down what you want. If I could wave a magic wand and your dreams could become a reality, what would that look like? Make it really detailed. And go to dinacataldo.com/episode 13 to grab your free printable PDF, and it's going to have everything you need to work through these techniques. And if you still feel stuck and you feel like you need extra help moving forward, you're not alone. This is not easy work. And we all need help at one time or another getting clear on what we want and how to become the person we need to be to make our dreams come true. And if this sounds like you, consider one-on-one coaching with me. When we work together, I help you get clear on a game plan moving forward, and I act as an accountability partner to help you reach your goals. I'll post a link for a free 30-minute discovery call in the show notes so you can discover if working together is right for you. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon. And you can get everything that we talked about, the journaling, the free 30-minute discovery call, all at dinacataldo.com/episode 13. All right. Hope you have a great day. Bye. Thanks for listening to Soul Roadmap. If you have a moment, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe, rate, and left an honest review on iTunes. I read every single review, so let me know what you want to hear more or less of, and I'll talk to you next week.